Business Central, you can use Copilot and AI to reconcile your bank accounts. Now, before looking at the demonstration, let me first explain a couple of very important prerequisites. So the first one is that the feature is only available in Business Central Online. So you can use Copilot for your bank account reconciliations only in Business Central Online and not in Business Central On-Prem. Secondly, you may have to enable the feature depending on the version of Business Central that you use. So let me go to Feature Management. And in Feature Management, you can search for Reconcile. And then you can see the feature Preview Bank Account Reconciliation with Copilot. So if you want to try out the feature, you should enable it for all users. You can also check the new Copilot setup page. So if you search for Copilot, you can go to Copilot and AI capabilities. And this will show you the current Copilot features and whether they're activated or not. So there's the bank account reconciliation and the marketing text suggestions, and in my case they're both active. You could also deactivate them from here, but I will leave them, of course, activated. Now, when this is all set up, we are ready to reconcile bank accounts with Copilot. So let's now look at an example. I will go to Cash Management and Bank Account Reconciliations. So there is a reconciliation waiting to be processed based on the checking account. And here in the action bar, you can see the action Reconcile with Copilot. So I could run it from here, or you can of course also first open the bank account reconciliation and run it from the card. So here you can see a reconciliation like we already know it from previous versions of Business Central. So at the left side you can see the bank statement lines, and at the right side the bank account ledger entries, and these need to be reconciled. Alright, now instead of starting to process the reconciliation manually, I can now simply run Reconcile with Copilot. So now you see that Business Central connects to Copilot and will start generating. So when this is now the results. So here you can see two different categories. The first one is auto-matched, the second one Copilot matched. The auto-matched category is using the internal algorithm, like we already know it from previous versions. And the internal algorithm was able to match one of three lines. But you see that Copilot was able to match the other two lines. So this means that for this statement, we were able to match 100%. Now, what is offering Copilot on top of the internal algorithm? Well, these are transactions that are harder to process by the internal algorithm, like for example a deposit that is applied to multiple entries. So that's something that the internal algorithm will find harder to process. In some cases it might work, but you will see quite often that the internal algorithm will leave transactions like these that should be applied to multiple entries unmatched. However, Copilot is in most cases able to match them. So here I can click on the proposal. So in here you can see now the two bank account ledger entries that the deposit is matched with. Another thing is the first transaction. So the first transaction has another transaction date than the bank account ledger entry. So if I would click here on Apply to Entry, you can see that the posting date of my bank account ledger entry is January 19, 2023, while the transaction date is January 22, 2023. So also this is something that the internal algorithm in most cases will not match because of the different dates. However, Copilot is processing or using other algorithms, and in most cases will be able to match transactions that have different dates than the bank account ledger entries. Okay, so this is the suggestion, so both from the internal algorithm and Copilot. It's of course a very simple example, but it shows the basically the functionality and what Copilot is adding on top of the internal algorithm. Now, just like the other Copilot features, you can communicate to Microsoft whether you like it or not. So if you think that the result is okay and that Copilot was able to match all the transactions that weren't matched by the internal algorithm, you can give a thumbs up. Or you can also click on dislike and explain, for example, why you don't like it. All right, so that's very important because Microsoft needs the feedback in order to improve the feature if necessary. All right, another thing that we can do, but I will not do this for this example because I will also like to explain another Copilot feature, is post if fully applied. So in this case, I could have enabled this field, which means that if you click on keep it, that Business Central will automatically post the bank account reconciliation. But here I will post manually, but I will accept this. So I will keep it, which means that 3 reconciliation lines out of 3 are matched. And you see again, the added value of Copilot is we only have 3 bank statement lines, but 4 bank account ledger entries. But the deposit is now applied to 2 of our bank account ledger entries. Now, another feature, one that I don't need in this example, is transfer to GL account. So that's also a feature that you may know from previous versions in Business Central. So we still have transfer to general journal. However, if you use this feature, it's still up to the user to select the GL account that we should post to. If you would use Copilot, transfer to GL account, Copilot will look at available data and will try to predict and suggest the most likely GL account for the transaction. So that's another way that Copilot can help you processing a bank reconciliation. But again, for this example, we don't need to transfer anything to a general journal or a GL account, so I can just leave it as it is. All right, then the last step is posting the bank account reconciliation. So let me click on Posts. And the bank account is now reconciled using Copilot and AI.